මුලින්ම පටන් ගන්නනේ. සමන්ත චක්කවාලේසු අත්‍රා ගච්ඡන්තු දේවතා සද්ධම්මං මුනි රාජස්ස සුනන්තු සග්ග මොක්ඛදං ධම්ම ශ්‍රවණ කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා ධම්ම ශ්‍රවණ කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා ධම්ම ශ්‍රවණ කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස ඒතං භගවතා වාරාණසියං ඉසිපතනේ මිගදායේ අනුත්තරං ධම්මචක්කං පවත්තිතං අප්පතිවත්තියං සමනේන වා බ්‍රාහ්මනේන වා දේවේන වා මාරේන වා බ්‍රහ්මුණා වා කේන චිවා ලෝකස්මින්ති. Good morning, everyone. Today is a very special day for all of us. As the Asala full moon day is the day that Dhamma arose in the world. Dhamma is the light. Dhamma is the aloka. When there is no aloka, there is darkness. Until the day that Buddha taught the first sermon in Isipatana at Benares, everything was dark. That means there was no wisdom in the world. Some wisdom here and there, like a little lamps here and there. But it's not the sunlight that pervades the whole world. Prajna Aloka. First time, the wisdom was delivered by the Buddha in the Asala full moon day. And therefore, it is a very special day for all of us human beings, because that's the day that our eyes were cleared and we started slowly seeing things clearly. When there is darkness, we don't see anything. But when there is aloka, we see something. And Buddha said, actually he received aloka, he saw aloka 3 months earlier on Vesak full moon day. When he was becoming enlightened, the light arose in him. Light arose in him. Aloko udapadi. You know, Vidya udapadi. Science arose in me. Aloko udapadi, Vidya udapadi, Panya udapadi. Wisdom, eye of wisdom arose in the world. So all these things happened at the Vesak full moon day for the Buddha himself, but until Asala full moon day, Buddha never had the opportunity to reveal it to the world. As we all have heard, that 5 ascetics who was followers of the Buddha, Panchavagya Bhikkhu, who was following the Buddha, but at some point they left him. Why did they leave him? Because Buddha was practicing austerities, very difficult, rigorous practices he was doing in Uruvela. And at that time, everybody think that giving pain and suffering to the body and mind is the way to become enlightened. And Buddha had tried this to the best as possible, meaning he gave the difficult time for his body and mind. We call duskara kriya. Duskara means difficult things that any human being can do, any human cannot do, Buddha did. And all those things like stopping breathing for minutes and minutes and minutes, he stopped the breathing. And then he cut down the eating until a very small grain per one day. And at that time, he became so skinny. You remember, when I touch my belly, my backbone, when my belly, I actually touch my backbone. I was so skinny because he had gone through so much austerities. And as a result, he was so experiencing pain and suffering, but he didn't achieve any wisdom. Then Buddha thought, this is not a helpful path for me to attain enlightenment and understand the nature of the world, nature of the life. Therefore, I have to change my method of trying to become enlightened. And he slowly started following the Majjhima Patipada, middle path. In the palace, he was experiencing all the luxuries. Nothing happened. He was ordinary person with no wisdom. Then he was looking for wisdom. He left the palace and went to the forest and followed 6 years of all the austerities, and nothing good happened. And therefore, Buddha said, in the palace I was experiencing luxury. In the forest I was experiencing extreme self-mortification, and both are not helpful. So, as I remember when I was a young prince, at the flowering festival, I remember I was meditating, and I remember the concept of middle path. Not going to one extreme, not going to the other extreme. I want to follow the middle path. So the Buddha changed him to eating properly and not giving too much pain and suffering to the body. And slowly he figured out what is the best middle is. So he came to the middle and he was following the middle path, and then he became enlightened. But when he started following the middle path, after the duskara kriya, that means self-mortification, all those followers, 5 followers of the Buddha decided that Siddhartha Gautama has given the struggle to become enlightened. Now he is living a luxurious life. He is eating, he is taking shower, and he's sometimes he's resting, not constantly waking up and meditating. Now he is following the middle path. So I think he has given up the idea of becoming enlightened. So we don't need to follow him. They left. All 5 of them left. But when he became enlightened in the Vesak full moon day morning, that was a result of following the middle path. And that middle path, he started thinking, what is the middle path I followed? And how do I translate this into language? I followed something, I practiced something, but how do I say this in words to other people? That was a difficult job because it is difficult to explain what you experienced exactly the same way to someone else. But luckily, Buddha had trained himself for millions of lifetimes, Sara Asanka Kalpa Laksha, 4 million uncountable million, 4 uncountable million of years, eons. 4 uncountable millions of eons is a long time. So he had been practicing to be a teacher. So therefore, in 2 months, since the Vesak day, he was contemplating how to teach Dhamma in language. It's easy to understand, but how can I make it somebody else understand? So that is a difficult part. That is something that took long time. And then on the Asala full moon day, for the first time, everything he understood, he discovered during the enlightenment process, he wanted to reveal it to the world because that is the main reason that he went to the forest in the first place. What is the reason? Buddha wanted to find out a method for the people to overcome suffering, because everywhere he looked around, he saw suffering and frustration and fear and sadness and all this depression and that kind of things everywhere in the world. And that is why he wanted to come up with a plan, method to help these people to overcome all suffering and be happy all the time. So now he was planning to teach this, although he knew that it was an easy thing to do. And not only that, something like the wisdom that Buddha understood is very difficult for anyone in this world who had no training to understand it clearly, as the Buddha did. Therefore, he wanted to teach this to someone who is brilliant. Only someone who is very, very wise and smart can understand the teachings that he is going to reveal. So he started looking for several people. Remember, Alara Kalama, Uddakarama, all previous teachers. And unfortunately, they were all, by the time that Buddha visited them, they all died. And one teacher just passed away a few days ago, before the Buddha started thinking who to teach the Dhamma. And then finally he took next best people is the 5 ascetic, because they were also trying very hard with me to find out the Dharma, a correct knowledge, how to overcome suffering. Since they were in the same research with me, they may have a certain idea what I understood after my research. It's like if a great scientist who find out something about physics want to teach it to somebody, and he don't go to a high school or some other community and try to teach what he learned in the lab. After many years of experiments, he finds something now, found out something, some secret about certain things, how it happens. The best people to teach this at the beginning is the people who are in the same type of research. So these scientists find out the top group of scientists, and he go to them and explain what he discovered. This is exactly how we do in this 20th century. Every time when some scientists find out something like a Nobel Prize winner or something, find out something how it happened, first people he goes to is the group of other scientists of the same field and present what he discovered. And this is the common practice today in the field of science, in the field of medicine, in the field of physics. If anybody find out something new after long time of work in the lab, they write a paper, and their paper is presented to the other people in the same field. And then he go to a meeting, conference, and present it. That is how it's happening. Exactly the same way, Buddha decided to meet these 5 people who were expert in the subject, hoping that they might be able to understand what the Buddha is going to teach. So when he taught this new wisdom, that is the day that wisdom came to this world, to the ears of other people besides the Buddha himself. And since that time, even people like us who are sitting here, listening to Dhamma, that is discovered by the Buddha when the monks try to teach them. They try to understand it to some degree at least, not fully, and they try to teach it to other people in simple language, common people. But Buddha was the first one, the first-hand knowledge is given to the 5 ascetics at that time. He took only 15 or 20 minutes to explain 6 years of knowledge, gathered knowledge, but actually not 6 years of knowledge, many, many millions of years of knowledge that he gathered, he taught, summarized into one lecture, which is called Dhamma Chakka Pavattana Sutta, the sermon of the turning of the wheel of Dhamma is called Dhamma Chakka Pavattana Sutta. That means Pavattana Chakka means a tire-like thing, wheel. Pavattana means rolling. When Buddha's chakra, Dharma chakra started rolling, it continues to, like in a mountain, if you put a tire down to the ground, so it's rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. And 2,500 years later, Buddha's teaching is still rolling, and the sound of the Dhamma is going towards all different directions in the world. After 2,500 years later, little by little, started from the Migadaya, the deer park in Benares, and the sound gradually went to 4 different directions, little by little, and even the time of the Buddha, that is 45 years later, when the Buddha passed away in Kusinara, Dhamma, sound of Dhamma has gone through many different directions in India. And after Emperor Dhammasoka started sending Buddha's disciples to different directions, and now it is going to all different countries in the world. It has gone at that time, went to China and Korea and Burma and Thailand and Cambodia and Laos, and then to Korea, from China to Korea, Korea to Japan, and Japan to first time came to America, and now even from Sri Lanka, even from Burma and Thailand, Dharma is coming to Western world, to England and Germany and Norway and Sweden and United States and all these different places. Now you can hear the Dhamma, the teachings that Buddha passed down from generation to generation. And we are so fortunate to receive that Dharma. Is the light that allow us to see things better. If there's a room is dark, I cannot see anything. But when the room is lit with lamps or lights or other things, then we can see things clearly. And that is what the Dhamma does. It's like the rising sun in the morning, make everybody see. Dhamma coming to the world is like the rising sun. We know now simple things. For example, if you keep hurting other beings, animals, as a result of hurting other beings and animals and people, you are going to be disformed people. You lose your eyes, you born with no hands, you can born with no ability to do things because you have hurt other beings in the past. Now you are crippled, now you are blind, now you are, loss of hearing, nothing. and you're constantly sick, heart problems and lungs problems and all kinds of other problems, cancer and all these things are coming as a result of what we did. At least common people can understand this much if they pay attention. Only if they pay attention, they can see. Just because light is in this room, I cannot see anything if I don't pay attention to it. Now we are in the Buddha hall here. If we don't pay attention to even the big Buddha right here in the Buddha image, just because you came to the room, you don't know that beautiful Buddha is in here. But something small, like a little clock, small clock, on one of the little tables, if you don't pay attention, you don't know that is there. But you have to pay attention to what is around. Just because you have eyes, you don't see. Just because there is light, you don't see. You have to pay attention to the Dhamma. Now, today, I took the Matruka, the topic or subject of the Dhamma, Etam Bhagavata Varanasiyang Isipatane Migadaye Dhamma Chakkang Pavattitang. That means our Lord Buddha at the Isipatana at the Benares and at the Deer Park, Dhamma Chakkang Pavattitang, the wheel of Dhamma is rolled. Now this is the most important part. Appativattiyang. It is impossible for any monk or Brahmana, that means educated person, Deva, the celestial beings, even the Brahma. Brahma means Creator God. Even the Creator God cannot roll the Dhamma chakra except the Buddha himself. That is the most important part. Any philosopher, any religious leader, any Deva and any powerful celestial being, or even the Creator God, God himself, cannot do what the Buddha did in Isipatana at that day. He gave the first sermon, the summary of his understanding. Through all the experiments, he realized something, and the summary of his realization was taught to these people in 15-20 minutes. But he took another 45 years to explain what is in the first sermon. Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta has very precise knowledge, and that knowledge is difficult to understand for anybody. Even out of the 6 ascetics, only Kondanya was able to get the point when the Buddha gave the first sermon. He Dhammachakkung Uddapad. Virajang Vitamalang Dhammachakung Udapadi Kadada Kondanyam Ayasmato Kondanyas. Out of those 5 ascetics, youngest one was Kondanya. He was the only one who can understood the Dhamma from the very precise summary of the teaching. But the following 45 years, Buddha constantly explained it in many different ways, according to the ability of the people who are going to understand. There were kings, royal family members, there were very learned Brahmins, there were very, very rich bankers, settis, there were farmers, there were merchants, just the Vaishya, and there were very, very poor people. And every time when he meets any of these people, doesn't matter if he's a king, he's a rich man, he's a Brahmin, he's a religious person, he's a philosopher, all these people come and meet the Buddha, or Buddha himself go to them and talk to them. And what did he say anytime when they see them? Little bit of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta explained in different ways. What is the main point of Dhammacakka Sutta? Everything is depending on cause and effect. If this light is lit, light is on, and we can see what we are writing, what we are seeing because of the light. But we have to know that this light is a result of the bulb, the proper wire connection, and the electricity, and the switch is on. All these things are together at the same time. Then you see the light, when you get the light. All the conditions should be come together. Bulb is in somewhere in another room, and the electricity and the wiring is in another room. No, you don't see light. You have to bring the bulb and put in here. Now bulb is here in the right place, but the electricity is not here. The light come? No, light doesn't come. So all these things come together simultaneously at the same time. There's a result. That is the main teachings of the Buddha. That is exactly what all the scientists are trying to find out. What is the cause of this effect? If the plane is trying to take off, but for some reason, the plane is not going up, difficult to going up, it is going on the runway, but cannot go up. Then all the mechanics get together and find out what is missing in the machine and what is wrong in the plane. And they find out everything else is good. All the gears are properly working. All other conditions are right. The cockpit is, everything is properly working, but one thing is missing. Therefore, this plane is not taking off. So what they do is they fix that part and then the plane take off. Very simple. If person gets sick, all of a sudden, or if the whole bunch of people get sick, the medical scientists do their research in the lab and test all the patients and see what is there in the body that came from outside to make this person sick, or what part of the organ is not working well. And then those medical scientists find out there is a virus, there is a germ get into this person. Now we need to remove it. Once that germ is removed, this person become healthy again. That is the way that things work in the world. Ye Dhamma hetu pabhava tesang hetu tathagato aha. Aha tesancha yo nirodho evang vadi mahasamano. Mahasamano means great enlightened monk. Teachers, ye Dhamma hetu pabhava. What are the things that is caused by different conditions? Hetu. Buddha teaches that hetu. Why people are sad, why people are experiencing frustration, why people are always angry and unhappy, why people are depressed, and why people are not happy. Buddha found out that is dukkha. Dukkha is caused every time when this is there, you experience dukkha. So this whole first sermon is all about causes and conditions of major problem of all of us. Remember that plane was not taking off for some reason. And our people never go to the level of total peace of mind or happiness because something is wrong in their system. Then tesang hetu tathagato aha. The reason for that is told by the Buddha. He looked at that and he thought, he called it tanha. In this particular sutta, he said it is tanha. Tanha means self-centered thinking, selfishness. Then what is selfishness is made of? Then Buddha said greed, hatred, and ignorance. Raga, dosa, moha, when all these come together, person becomes a selfish person. Selfish person always think selfishly. Always think of me first. Me. Always me. And then you have things. Your wife, your children, your home, and your property, and your job, and your reputation. And now you start thinking about my thinking. I thinking, me thinking, you hit me. No? You scold me. You beat me with a stick. Something like that. I, me, mine. We always think like that. As long as we think I, me, mine, we generate greed, raga, dosa, moha, anger, hatred, ill will, that is hate, dosa. Moha means total confusion, misunderstanding of many things, right? Not being able to see things clearly is moha. All this happened because I, me, mine thinking. All the enlightened ones, all arahants, especially the Buddha, any Buddha is an arahant. Any arahant, don't think in that terms. If you go and hit an arahant with a baseball bat, arahant would smile. Or he slowly walk away from you. But if somebody else hit me with the me with the baseball bat, I would be very upset and angry at that person. I remember this person hit me with the baseball bat on my head 10 years ago. I still remember. Why? Because I had the idea of I, me, mine. So if you have no I, me, mine thinking, when your children do something upsetting you, you can easily forgive that child and don't get mad at her. When you see something very beautiful that you want to get for yourself, we try our best to get it. Even a simple phone, when you see it, oh, I want to get this phone. I want to get this car. I want to get this person as my wife, as my husband. I want to have a child like this. Always, when we see something, we generate greed. Greed means desire to own it for yourself and keep it for yourself. Your own happiness. You see a girl, and this young man thinks, this is a perfect girlfriend for me. I want to make friends with her. My girlfriend after that. See? Change, huh? The word change. So that's a greed. Lobha, dosa, moha, raga, dosa, moha, same thing. Raga and lobha. Raga is a very strongly selfish emotion. And this whole thing is called tanha. Raga, dosa, moha. Tanha means very difficult to translate. We call it craving. We call it the desire. But that does not mean too much. These English words are not good enough to get the meaning of the word tanha. Tanha is a much bigger word than we can say in English. So now I call it self-centered thinking. Tanha means self-centered thinking. As long as you have self-centered thinking, you can never be happy. That's simple. No matter what, how much money you have, how much good family you have, how much education you have, you are not happy because you are having this self-centered thinking. So what the Buddha said was, we can remove this self-centered thinking. After you remove the self-centered thinking, we feel so much better and more happy, more light. Life is so easy, like a bird flying in the sky. no heaviness. And you can immediately feel the difference between previous life and after. That's a third noble truth. First noble truth is about the problem, our frustration and our fears and our our greed and our all that, our depression and sadness and lamentation, all that, and it is caused by self-centeredness, and that we can remove. Number 3 of the Four Noble Truths in the first sermon is about the complete freedom from all illnesses, mental illnesses like greed and frustration and fear and sadness can be removed 100% if you remove the self-centeredness, tanha, 100%. Your self-centeredness can be your frustration, tanha, mental problems can be resolved 100%. And if you can do that, number 3, you feel so comfortable. That is nirodha. Nirodha Nirodha Satya. And the fourth part of the Buddha's teaching is how to do it. Then how did the Buddha know how to do it? Because Buddha himself tried it very well to the fullest. What did he try? Majjhima Patipada, the middle path. Samma Ditti Samma, Sankappa Samma, Vacha Samma, Kammanta Samma, Ajiva Samma, Vayama Samma, Sati Samma, Samadhi. All these parts of the Eightfold Path were fully cultivated by the Buddha himself, and he knows exactly what is the result of this. When you touch the electrical light, which is live, you get shocked, and you know. And when you put it into the bulb, connect it to the bulb gets lit. You get the light. How do this person know? Because he had tried to do that many times. So same way, Buddha found out Majjhima Patipada, middle path, Eightfold Path. If anyone practice, little by little, this person's pain and suffering and frustration go down. If this person cultivate Eightfold Path to the fullest, all your mental diseases, difficulties, frustrations and fears and depressions go away 100%. And he becomes the healthiest person in the world. Now, this is the teaching that we don't have time to explain. Buddha took 45 years to teach this. And in the end of the 45 years, Buddha tell the disciples, monks, I taught the Dhamma, explained the Dhamma to you in many different ways. But if you still have any questions, you please ask me, because 1 month from now, I'm going to pass away. In next Vesak full moon day, I'm going to pass away. But until then, I will live here. So you keep asking any question. Don't think that I am tired. Come to me and ask the questions, and I'll explain it further. But I know 45 years I have been explaining what I discovered. That is in the first sermon. He explained it. That is Dhamma, 45 years of the explanation of the first sermon. And we have many things to discuss about this. For example, everybody in the world, even our Buddhist people, but sometimes Buddhist monks, say that all religions are teaching the same thing. So if you follow any religion, that's good. That's what they say. Every religion teaches good things. Yes, every religion teaches something good. But when it comes to the Dhamma, not found in any religion in the world. There are some religions whose religious leader, the prophet, is taught by God. The knowledge that they teach is put into their mind by God, and therefore it is the most valuable teaching they think. But in this sutta said, even the God cannot do whatever the Buddha did in Isipatana. Samanenava, Brahmanenava, Devenava, Marenava, Brahmanava. Creator God cannot teach what the Buddha taught. That means always Buddha's teaching is beyond the teaching of any God. And I know that in countries like Sri Lanka, even the Buddhists think that other religions are same as Buddhism. Nowhere close, not even close, not even close, for miles and miles away. But some Christian pastors publicly claim that Buddha is looking for light and Christ is light, and therefore Buddha was looking for Christ. And that is ultimate uninformed thing, because Buddha found light at the enlightenment, and he clearly said, Aloko Uddapad. Light arose in me, wisdom arose in me, science arose in me. Vidya Uddapadi, Aloko Uddapadi, Panya Uddapadi. So how can somebody say Buddha is still looking, Buddha was looking for light? Buddha himself is the person who has light, who became light. And that is why he was able to teach the Dhamma that cannot be taught by anyone in the world, in this world. Any philosopher, any religious leader, any founder of any religion cannot do the same thing that Buddha did. And therefore, we should be very lucky. We should feel very lucky to be Buddhist, and we should take the best advantage of being a Buddhist, that is learning the Dhamma that any other people in any part of the world don't have. Only us. Dhamma is only available for us Buddhists. If anybody else wants the Dhamma, they have to start learning Dhamma. That's it. You don't have to be a Buddhist. Any American person or any English person, any German person, they don't have to be a Buddhist, but they have to learn Dhamma. Learn Dhamma means learn science of life, science of physics, science of medicine, science of chemistry. What is this one? This one is science of life. Science of life is the one that the Buddha discovered and Buddha wanted to teach. Why Buddha wanted to teach science of life? Why he didn't want to pay attention to science of physics and science of chemistry? Because if you know the science of life, all the problems of this person, all the knowledge that the person needs in this world is already the person who learned Dhamma has it. That person don't have to struggle to find chemistry and physics and other sciences, medicine and all the other. That is why Buddha gave the most important knowledge is the knowledge of our own life, our own condition, our own way, how our own life works. And Buddhists have it, and Buddhists can share it without pushing a religion. We can share the knowledge. That is why Buddhist missionaries are here. Buddhist missionaries are not missionaries. They are Dhamma teachers. Other missionaries go to a place and they try to convert all the people and make them follow them. We don't want to follow. We don't want anybody to follow our religion. We like them to understand life and live better and live happily. That's all. So there are two different things. And therefore today, on the Asala full moon day, there are so many things to discuss about the first sermon. I only took a very small section that even the Creator God cannot come up with this knowledge that Buddha came up with. And therefore, as Buddhists who are followers of the Dhamma, we are so lucky and we should be very grateful to our ancestors for giving us the chance to learn and practice and see the value of the Dhamma and reach the benefit. We gain the benefit of following the Dhamma, and because our ancestors preserved the Dhamma last 2,500 for us, and we should be very grateful to them also. And this is the Dhamma message for today on the Asala full moon day. Hope you understood few things about the Dhamma, importance of Dhamma. I know you are listening to the Dhamma because you have appreciation for the Dhamma, and I hope your appreciation grew a little bit more, and your understanding of the difference between other knowledges and the Dhamma itself, you had the idea after listening to this Dhamma talk. So by listening to this Dhamma talk, we generated great deal of positive energy for ourselves, great deal of wisdom. May we all be happy and joyful as a result of the wisdom that we generated. And may all our deceased family members also be able to share this joy with us. Thinking these thoughts, we recite the Gatha. Idamme ñāti naṁ hontu. Idamme ñāti naṁ hontu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñāti naṁ hontu sukita hontu. Idamme ñāti naṁ hontu sukita hontu ñātayo. Let us share the Dhamma. Let us share this merit and wisdom with all the devas, thinking may all the devas be able to hear and more Dharma and help us to understand more Dharma in their ways. And finally, may they also attain ultimate peace. With these thoughts in our mind, let us recite the Gatha. Akasatthacha. Akasatthacha bummatta deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumuditva chirang rakkantu loka sasanang aka bummatta deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumuditva chirang rakkantu desanang akasatthacha Deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumuditva chirang rakkantu sada. Now Dhamma talk is over. We have about 5 minutes for a break to go to restroom and or drink a cup of water, and then come back in 5 minutes. Bhante Sarada will guide you with short meditation, about 20 minutes. Then we have the Buddha Puja hour at 11:45. And 1 hour from now, we have Buddha Puja hour, 11:45. Now you take a short break. The people at home, I'm sorry that we have to disconnect the streaming, but in 5 minutes, we start with meditation, and you come and go to the same site and same link and turn it on, you can join the meditation. No? And then we have the Buddha Puja hour, and after that we have lunch break, and 1:15 in the afternoon, we have the Sinhala Dhamma talk by Bante Shanta. If anybody understands Sinhalese, please join at 1:15, 1 hour Dhamma talk. And we have a short break after that. And 2:30 to 3:15, we have the Dhamma discussion. If you have any questions, please keep them in mind and bring it to us. Huh? Thank you very much.